Get off my lawn!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the MtG podcast. My name is Blake. I am here with Jeremiah and Stefan. How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Fantastic.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
we got a new overlay. Look at all that. You can head
beautiful.
over to the Patreon. That's patreon.com/MTG Dads Podcast. Check out all of our extra content. We got some stuff going up there this weekend. Plenty of backlog for you to check out. If you sign up for
Oh
just
yeah.
$3, you get all of our previous content plus everything that's coming up. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, don't we, boys?
Oh, it's a big day. We're recording
Indeed.
this on October 1st. It is the night of the 1st.
It is October 1st. Why is that
Yeah.
significant, though?
This morning, one Robin Sorensen made the leaked announcement on the Canadian Highlander Discord that there was going to be a points change to Canadian Highlander, and it is effective immediately.
Effective immediately.
Yeah.
So 4 cards got shifted around, and oh boy, is there so much to unpack here.
Yeah.
So the first one is transmute artifact to 0. I know a couple of people in our local meta that are going to be in particular real jazzed up about this change.
It's a weird one, right? It's from Antiquities.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
yeah,
so.
this is an old Antiquities card where like the original, like you have to look at the gather ruling on it to really understand the rules of it.
Yeah, you can't read the card and know what it does.
Yeah, the reading the card does not explain a card. It's basically like a birthing pod, like a one-time birthing pod for artifacts, and then you have to pay the difference, or if you don't, you have to sacrifice it. It's very weird.
It's something like that. We talked about it
Yeah.
earlier in our when we did our series about the one-pointed cards. We talked about it, and both of us thought that this card should be 0 points.
Correct.
So there's a number of decks that benefit from this. Any of the artifact piles like Steel Stompy or Shops or even the Time Vault decks, they're going to benefit a lot from this because now they have an additional non-pointed tutor to go find just their most powerful artifact. In the case of the Time Vault deck, which Tommy was talking about as soon as this was
Yeah.
updated, that that means a ton for those decks.
Yeah, that deck needs some help.
Just having the combo decks having as many tutors as they can that are not pointed, it just benefits those decks so much. And even like the like Crafts Grixis Welder deck where you just want to find like Grindstone and Painter's Servant or any of the other two artifact combo decks really benefits so much from this. The even I think Steel Stompy benefits from this because they can turn their 0 mana artifacts, their tokens or whatever, their Moxen or whatever, into really power artifacts, and they can pay the mana in the difference, or
Yeah.
they can sacrifice some big thing, go to some other thing. It's being able to turn a construct token into an Umezawa's Jite seems very, very good.
I think being able to turn like any token, like a treasure token, into anything in your deck, because that deck just makes a ton of colorless mana.
Yeah.
So like, just go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even like cranial plating, whatever. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Mana is not a problem in those decks.
That's a really good point. Is being able to go find cranial plating or nettle cyst in a pinch and just present lethal to your opponent on the spot.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a problem with the double blue. That deck is historically pretty much 2 colors, 3 if you count brown, but it's like the blue white. In my opinion, it is the best blue white deck in the format right now.
So, do you think Paradox Engine, the Paradox combo, do you think that benefits from this at all? Like, I mean, it's been quite some time since we've seen. I don't think I've ever seen that deck in our meta.
No, it never has.
No.
But
I don't think it hurts it.
well, it certainly doesn't hurt it. But do you think that the addition of this as a non-pointed card, they get to play one more point in their spread? Do you think maybe this deck stands a chance now?
Was that one of their pointed cards anyway? I don't know.
I don't think it was.
The times I've seen the deck play, they did not have a bunch of extra mana. You know what I mean? So
I really don't know a whole lot about the
Yeah.
deck, to be completely honest.
So I don't know. I don't know how much it helps that one. I'm sure that knowing it's unpointed, you can build around it and make it very good in that shell. But
Sure.
I also think it has some pretty cool implications maybe for the food piles that may start, kind of cropping up.
Mm. Yeah, those tokens they can turn into other
Well, yeah,
stuff.
and there's a ton of really powerful artifacts in that deck already.
Yeah. So,
Again, it was just like
um,
it's up to the creative mind of the person behind it. But it just it kind of sat at a point never seeing play,
Right.
at least locally.
Right.
There are other places to spend a point,
Yeah.
and here we are now, free at last.
yeah. Do you guys remember that one quarterly where the guy brought the teamer, just had a bunch of different combos in
I
it?
do.
Tinker,
Yes.
Mm.
Hmm.
like that deck seems like one of those decks that would be pretty awesome with this transmute in it too.
Yeah, that was
With
Adam Mowry's artifact combo deck.
yeah,
A
Yep.
teamer too. That's wild.
Yeah, he made. I mean, he made the top eight. That was the quarterly that Travis didn't win. That was the
I missed
quarterly that
that
was won
one.
by Jacob on Naya Initiative,
Oh, I was there for
and
that one.
yeah, that was the one where you and I did not play. We just did coverage all day long.
Yeah, that was wild. It
Yeah.
was a
I
good
didn't
day.
play in that one either. It was during tax season,
Yeah,
but I
What
came
were you
afterwards and
pouring
watched
into
some of the
it?
matches.
yeah. Tax expert showing up late as usual. Put in for the extension.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to justify. If the prize was $2,000, I wouldn't show up.
It's yeah.
I'm in the wrong occupation. Okay, moving on
We're
to
in
the
different
next
tax
one.
brackets.
Crop rotation to 0. Stefan, I know you have a lot to say about this one. Please enlighten me. What do you think about
Um,
crop rotation to 0?
I adore this card. It's possibly one of the coolest designed lands pieces ever. And when it was no points, there were a number of decks like we sort of talked about like the Paradox Academy deck
Mm-hmm.
where it would splash green expressly for this card. It
Just
would
to find Tellurian
just to
Academy.
find Tellurian Academy. Because Tellurian Academy, you produce green, and then you would crop rotate away a basic, and then you would get Tellurian Academy, and you would produce 14 blue mana.
Right.
And from there, you're basically just winning the game. It
Right.
doesn't take a
It's
whole
just an
lot.
additional copy of Tellurian Academy in that kind of
Yes.
deck. But crop rotation has so many applications outside of that.
Right.
Me in particular with my Simic deck, I am very, very excited about crop rotation to 0.
Yeah.
I had just had the deck laid out earlier, and I was, contemplating some points changes and not considering cutting crop rotation in any capacity. But when I heard the announcement, I was just like, okay, well, this makes my life a whole lot easier now. I could just
Yeah.
play this other card instead. This crop rotation is so good. There's so many silver bullet lands that you can go find,
Yeah.
and like just being able to go find an Urza Saga or go
Oh
find a
yeah.
Wasteland or Strip Mine, when you need that, or like you said, go find a Caracas
Oh yeah.
or go find a Pachuca Bog. Like crop rotation, when we did, again, going back to when we did our series on the one pointed cards, crop rotation was a card that was not on our radar. Both of us felt that
Yeah.
crop rotation deserved its point.
Yeah. The tutor targets are just so powerful.
And so it is indeed, I believe, one of the most powerful tutor two board effects that's available in the format right
Mhm.
now. And I did not see that coming at all. I'm not mad about it by any stretch of the imagination, but uh, quite opposite actually. I'm elated that crop rotation is 0 points now.
Yeah, I think it was one of the happy changes for sure. I almost wonder if they've seen a fall off maybe of like the Crater Hoof type decks, and maybe they're trying
Mm.
to push those back into the meta a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. That's
But I don't know. One of my favorite lands to get off of crop rotation is Phyrexian Tower as a sack outlet. Um,
yeah.
if you're playing like a Rector type deck, it's pretty awesome. Just to get have a reliable access to a sack outlet.
Yeah, that's true. Phyrexian Tower out of those, like Sandy B style decks I mean, it's really hard to deal with. It's basically outside of a Wasteland or Strip Mine,
Mhm.
you really can't do anything about that card.
I think even like the upside of Tower is to produce double mana. Like one of the some of the best lands in our format are like Ancient Tomb or City of Traders.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you don't really care about going down a land. You're just going up mana overall, and you'll pay a card to do that.
And sacrificing a creature is oftentimes not a downside.
No.
Yeah, it's usually a mana dork that you've already tapped for mana.
Yeah.
Or a creature that gives you a benefit when it dies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or it's already gotten you the initiative.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah, you don't need them once they've landed. They've done their job. You can
Yeah.
kind of let them go. You don't have to swing with that. Swing it with the Arasakra sneak or the what is it? The vicious bat. Oh no, what's the red one with defender? Is Stirring Bard,
The blood boil,
Blood Boil Sorcerer.
something like that.
Stirring Bard is the 0-4 wall.
Well, let's not go down this road right now.
So
Yeah.
let's move on to the next one. This one, it did not come as a surprise to me. This one I almost had clocked. In fact, I predicted this on our stream at F&M last week. Flash to 7. So at our most recent quarterly, the one that was in, when did that happen?
August.
Our most recently quarterly in August, we had 2 copies of the Flash Hulk deck. Both actually very, very different in construction, but same mindset. Flash being only 5 points at that time. Both of those decks kind of at the bottom of the barrel. They did not perform well.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that was because everybody in our play group was ready for it.
Yeah.
I played one round 1 and I wargated for a rest in peace.
That's very like Jeremiah card selection.
It's just not. You don't have rest in peace in your deck probably unless there's Flash Hulk in the room.
Yeah, they let they let the Wargate resolve, and they had no idea. I'm sure that you were like rest in
right.
peace.
Yeah, like who's got rest in peace, right?
Yeah, and Helm of Obedience or something.
So maybe in other meta games elsewhere, there is a really high prominence of the Flash Hulk deck, or maybe even just like a fair Flash deck that's putting Atraxa into play. Is that fair?
No, nobody's doing that with Flash.
This change is like the Brock Purdy of the changes. Like it's Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Part of me wonders, there was a time in the Victoria meta where Flash Hulk was so powerful and dominant that there was a genuine fear of the deck from a couple of the counselors. I've heard them talk about this like expressly, where they were like, I just don't want to see this deck ever again.
Okay, so White Plume Adventurer to 7 win.
Shh. I mean, eventually.
With Mox to 4, please.
Yes, please.
I hate it so much. Go on. Sorry, go on.
So there's like this aspect of that where like they slowly started loosening up on it. Like they took Hulk to 3. Hulk was 3, took it down to 0.
Yeah, the Summoner's Pact came off of the list.
Yeah, and then Flash was like slowly going, okay, 6, now 5, and then a little Hobbit kicked the door in, and
with his giant Hobbit foot.
Yeah, he kicked the door in.
His giant Hobbit heart.
Yeah. His big old heart, his big gardener heart, brought his cat, and was like, listen, guys, I can just combo with 2 cards now. And everybody it was sort of like this moment of everybody clenched up. And I think that's probably what happened in Victoria. Everybody was like, oh, no, not again, please.
Or people just busted out the deck because they missed it.
That's
and it
true.
got better,
It did, but like we had enough practice with it locally that I think we sort of we have its number.
Right, like I said, everybody was ready for it. Not at all indicative of the deck on how good or bad it is. It's just we were all ready for it. We all knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we talked about crop rotation. We talked about Transmute Artifact. We talked about Flash, and now let's talk about the one that actually matters. It's Price of Progress to 0.
This is a big one.
Our pal Ryan on Friday, again on the stream, said, a guy can hope, can he?
Yeah.
And I shot him down. I said, there's no way, man. There's no way that Price of Progress is going to go to 0. And once again, going back to our discussion about the one-pointed cards, both of us thought that Price of Progress did not deserve its point.
Right.
And the really good allegory that we came up with was that it's like a retroactive blood moon.
Yeah.
It's like, your opponent should have been playing against Blood Moon the whole game and they didn't, and now you get to punish them for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, price of progress to 0.
This is, I hope, at least in my heart, I hope that there are people that now who have been greedily delving into a 4th color in their 3-color deck, that somehow have to face their hubris and acknowledge that there is a real, true danger to doing this, and that danger is death.
The unfortunate thing, I think, is that Price of Progress is 1 card in your 100 card deck, and Jeremiah will disagree with me, but
well, okay. I will always lose to Price of Progress. It's something that I've accepted. I'm a commander player at heart. I want to be greedy. I want to play in a greedy way. Yeah. I'm not mad about this change, but I don't think it kills the 4-color decks. I think it incentivizes one of your 4 colors to be blue.
So you can counter it.
Yeah, and I think you have to be a little bit more selective about the spells you counter. Personally, even though Pop went to 0, the decks that in our meta that mess me up with Pop are losing Strip Mine over it. And I'm kind of okay with that too,
That's true. Goblins and Mono Red were both playing Strip Mine, at least in our meta, and now they're not playing Strip Mine, which I suppose,
they're both dumping GT too. Like they're
both. Ryan was not playing GT.
Oh, he wasn't on GT before. Okay, I think he was on like 6 points or something. He was just like he was happily like not maxing out his.
He was playing 7 points.
Good on him. Yeah. Still winning on 7 points.
But yeah, I think the 4-color piles are still fine. They have to be a little bit more selective with their counter spells, and maybe that means they go more like the 12 creature Omnath deck instead of the 35 creature 4-color pile. But I think they're fine. I think they just counter more spells.
That's really interesting because I think that actually changes the dynamic of it a lot.
Holding up mana
while they're still playing, I think some of the best creatures in the format. They're going down on creatures, which reduces their ability to pressure you. I don't know. I think Price of Progress to 0 has a profound effect on the format. I really think that it does. And, it doesn't just benefit Mono Red or Goblins. I think it benefits lots of other decks too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're doing a good job of reducing your opponent's life total, it doesn't matter how many non-basics you have. If your opponent has less life than you and you can kill them with a Price of Progress, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You can think about that like a downside. Like, if Price of Progress deals you 4, but it kills your opponent, it doesn't really matter that it dealt you 4, right?
Exactly. So there's ways to play around it, but you have to be extremely selective in doing so.
Jeremiah says, pushing these 4-color decks to be more selective about which spells they're countering with their blue spells. That's really, really good advice. But I think that a more sound plan is to cut one of your colors. If you're playing a 4-color pile, cut one of your colors. If you're playing a 3-color pile, cut one of your colors. Yeah. I think that the best initiative pile right now is the Naya initiative deck because you have the green mana dorks and you have the ability to interact with the graveyard from the green cards on top of getting the 5 best initiative creatures and all of the fast mana and all of the really good taxing creatures that have evasion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Naya initiative pile I think is the best, and I think that if you just cut red out of that deck and play green-white initiative, you can play more basics. You can be less vulnerable to Price of Progress. You can still have just as good of a game plan because you have all of those non-pointed tutors, and you still have all of your taxi effects. You still have all of the evasion, and you don't have to worry about that as much.
Somewhere Eric just got very excited. you just mentioned like a Rad Selesnya deck, and like somewhere he is hearing you out going,
I will have an article up this week about green-white initiative in our Patreon. That's up there at the top of your screen. www.patreon.com/mtgjazzpodcast. You want to learn more about my green-white initiative deck. That'll be up there later this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting red from that pile does cut some of the more powerful cards in the format.
Just Fury. The only thing you're sad about
no.
losing really is Fury.
Minsk and Boo, Fourth
Oh
Aerlingus.
yeah.
You care about both those.
Have you ever cast a Mawlock? That card is insanely good.
They are very, very good, but I think that most of them are replaceable.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't build something that's good, but man, losing Minsk and Boo and Fourth Aerlingus specifically, those are some of the most powerful cards in the format.
Minsk and Boo and Fourth Aerlingus are very, very powerful, but I think they're replaceable.
Fourth almost feels like a control card. Like in the ways that I've seen it deployed, I don't know that Nyan
it just ends the game.
It does end the game, and you can play it on, because you're playing Mana Dorks, you can often play it on turn 2 against the control deck and have the Monarch.
Yeah, and then you just don't lose.
Yeah,
that sort of like goes for any of the super high power like early drop cards though. Like,
but that's not what you're trying.
They're very high power.
That's not what you're trying to hedge against, though. You're trying to hedge against price of progress.
Like, I don't even think that's the way you go with the Night Initiative deck. I think you adjust your mana base, and then you just play Price of Progress.
So we go down to like
embrace the change.
Yeah, you go fetch. So you have your 9 fetches, and then you have the Triome. You have the True Duels, the Shocks, and then all basics. The rest are basics. There are no non-basics outside of those.
You can't play any double pipped cards. Your mana base is so bad if you only play 6 duels.
Yeah.
You play 6 duels, you play 9 fetch lands.
Yeah.
That's less than 50% of your mana base.
7 duels. You have the Triome.
7. Okay, you play 7 duels. You get to play 8 fetch lands. You don't get to play 9.
Is it 8?
In a 3-color deck, you get to play 8 if you're playing Prismatic Vista. So that's less than half of your mana base. And the whole rest of it is basics. You're playing 15 plus basics. In a 3-color deck, your double pipped cards are going to be garbage.
You're on 10. You're on 10. You get the only one that you're not playing is the blue-black one. All the other ones all the other fetches you're playing. So you're playing 9 plus Prismatic Vista. That's 10. Plus the Triome, plus your True Duels, and plus your Shocks. That's 16. That's 16. You've got 20. You can put utility lands in there too, but you're running like 15 basics, and like they're mostly forest.
I guess we should go back to if the Price of Progress kills your opponent and not you, it did its job, and that's all that matters.
Well, the thing about the Anaya decks is that you have all these mana dorks fixing your mana too. So like as long as your mana base is heavily skewed green, you can play your turn 1 mana dork.
I don't even think
your double pip stuff is not going to be that hard to cast.
Your double pip stuff is also higher mana too. So like it's Solitude, it's Fury, and these are cards you don't necessarily have to cast, and because like you could just pitch cast them. Like
maybe you're cutting like your Adeline and
but
maybe Questing Beast, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, those are sort of like choices you can make along the way while you're constructing deck. But the initiative creatures are all hyper easy to cast. They're all mono pipped.
Maybe this is the balancing issue. Maybe all of those initiative creatures should have been like double or triple pipped.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. That's if all of them were Palace Jailers, we wouldn't be having a discussion.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. If White Plume Avenger was 1 white rather than 2 and a white, so that you couldn't cast it off of a Savannah mana dork turn 2 basic and then cast it
or off of Mana Crypt Plains.
Oh yeah, that's the brutal one.
I always feel like pips don't matter.
They don't matter until they do.
Until somebody's casting Price of Progress at your face.
That's what I was getting at. Price of Progress.
But I would just, the Naya deck, I would just rework the mana base, maybe rework some of the creatures, and then play the Price of Progress. Because that deck comes off with some crazy aggressive starts. Why not just, God forbid you get an Archon in play and they're playing their fetch lands tapped.
And a lot of times
that card is so broken.
Or a Thalia, like a big Thalia.
It's just like I love Stifle. I love a Stifle. Somebody puts an Archon into play, it's like Stifle that can attack you with flying.
It's a mini cruel ultimatum.
It's so pantsing.
You're a little cruel ultimatum.
The card is unreal.
But like the true counter to this all is humility, obviously.
Oh, you think?
I don't know. Against initiative, I think yes. I think our local meta is probably too cowardly to hamstring their own creature base. I think I'm the only person that has like delved into a true creatureless list. Jeremiah is pretty close. Like your control deck had very few creatures in it. Mine had one.
I don't know. Crafts Algodi deck only has like maybe 15 creatures in it. I don't think it.
Oh, I'm
has,
sure it's less than 15. Yeah.
I don't think it even has
Yeah,
that many.
that's true. Yeah,
I would guess it's
Tinfin's
like
not
7 to
regularly.
8.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that deck also loses to humility. And like
I mean, it probably loses to Price of Progress.
problem solved. So red, white, price of progress, humility. No points.
No. This is what I was talking about earlier. I want to make a deck. I want to make a deck where the whole point is to demonic tutor for Price of Progress, and then cast Price of Progress over and over and over again.
Oh,
you know how like the old moniker is like, it's not the first recall that wins. It's the second and third recall that wins.
It's the third
Not
recall.
the first Price of Progress that wins. It's the second and third Price of Progress.
Yeah, you need some sort of way to like immediately like alter Ren and 6 so you can retrace Price of Progress over and over.
We haven't even mentioned the deck that's actually going to benefit the most from this is probably Blue Moon.
That is really, really good point. Blue Moon, like having Price of Progress as a 2-mana win condition is absurd.
And Mystical Tutor has come down in points now too, so you can Mystical Tutor for it. There's lots of different ways in blue to tutor for spells, like solve the equation, and obviously Mystical Tutor. You can have you can run Spell Seeker if you fill in Hoppy, and like that's a totally reasonable. Like the deck doesn't care about its points.
So what if you Spell Seeker for Ephemerate your Spell Seeker, get Price of Progress. Price of Progress your opponent, upkeep, retrace or not retrace. What is it called?
It's
Rebound.
Rebound Ephemerate Spellseeker, get Noxious Revival, put Price of Progress on top, draw it, cast it again.
I don't know a nice way to say
you don't need Time Walk anymore, just Price of Progress your opponent.
You should be just playing Time Walk there. Like Time Walk is a better card. Yeah, like I think that there are that there are some interesting ways that you could approach this, but Blue Moon is just like, it's eating right now. It's feasting.
It does seem really sweet.
Yeah. The only person that plays it locally is Josh, and I think more people need to like give it a shot. The problem is that locally, most people that would play Blue Moon play Jeskai, and
yeah, I mean, just blue-red spells is not good enough, I don't think. You're playing some pretty bad cards.
I don't think it's just blue and red spells anymore. I think they have gone up a considerable amount of creatures. In some decks, I've seen them splashing green for like some heavy hitters.
Yeah,
but
splashing that third color in a Blood Moon deck seems like it seems like a liability.
Those blue-red spell decks do continue to get better though. They just get a creature here and a creature there.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Like that double prowess guy that they got recently is nutty.
Yeah, Kinra Spellshaker.
Yeah. I like the blue questing beast that has the adventure, the 4/4 flyer with Ward 2 that lets you blink something on like its butt is blink something.
Sounds bad. I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't
it's an adventure creature that has a
Twining Twins
or whatever.
Yeah, it's a 4-mana 4/4 flying
again.
vigilance.
You're talking about a 3-color deck.
Yeah, that's a white.
Oh, that does have a white booty. Yeah, but even the body, I think, is fine. Like, I think you just play it for the body, and like if you get a treasure token off of your monkey, you can cast the backside. I've played lots of cards I can't cast. I've never been afraid of that.
Whenever I play against that deck, the card I lose to is the Arcanist, the zombie wizard. Yeah.
That card is so underplayed.
Yeah, it just like lets you flashback and like
it's a wizard.
Yeah,
play Flame of Anor.
And it lets like if you can boost its power at all, you can flashback your Price of Progress. And like you said, if you're looking for a deck that just wins off of price progress, that's the deck. That's the deck that can find and cast the price multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, Jayla plays that deck, and when that thing gets like a Rune Chainer's Pike on it or something and swings, like it's bad news.
Oh, you don't need Room Chainer's Pike anymore. You got the new one, the Lord of the Rings one. It's like Room Chainer's Pike.
Well, you can have both. Like you just have both. You know?
Analyst does. I'm surprised you're not higher on this deck. You love a Crackling Drake.
I do love a Crackling Drake.
Or
I don't think there's anything in his deck that costs 4 mana, but
it sounds like cowardice.
Uh,
or intelligence. I can't tell the difference between the two.
if you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough.
Oh my gosh.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Magic Dad's podcast or the Old Cranky Man Collectibles channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. And before we go, we just want to remind you that
we're proud of you. Night. Love you. Kiss, kiss.
Bye.